Hello, welcome to the Solace Divorce Mediation Managing Expectations video. My name is Jen Mitchell. I am the owner and the creator of Solace. I am a family law attorney in the state of Illinois, a mediator and a life coach. And I'm so grateful that you have found us if you are thinking about going through a divorce, or if you found yourself going through the divorce process. I'm so happy you're here so you can get some information and some resources and some powerful tools to help you right now, because divorce can be a very scary and overwhelming thing to be thinking about or to be going through. And I believe that the reason for that is because of the destruction that the family law court system has been able to perpetuate on people and families for generations now. So, wherever you are in your journey, welcome to this video. This is here to help manage your expectations. That is one of my favorite phrases, both in my personal life and in my professional life. And the reason for it is because I truly have found and believe that people function best when their expectations are managed. And all that means is that people function best when they know what is expected of them, what is expected of the other person or people, and just what to expect overall in general. So that's the purpose of this video, because going through a divorce is extremely emotionally difficult. And in addition to that, we have this whole social stigma that is sharing with us that divorce is a failure, that divorce has to be this awful battle, that you have to hate your spouse, that it's going to take you years to get a divorce and cost you tens of thousands of dollars, and that your children are going to be negatively affected. And this is all the narrative that we hear all the time when we're living in our world and when we're going through a divorce. And the reason for this, again, a big part of this is because the family law litigation courtroom setting strips people of their power. When people choose to litigate in the courtroom setting, they are giving their voice, their power to speak to their attorneys who are speaking for them. And they are giving their power as the absolute best authorities to determine what is in the best interest of their children and a fair and equitable way to divide their marital property to a judge. They're handing that power over and letting a complete stranger who is wearing a robe and elevated at the front of the courtroom. And yes, he or she is very smart and has a lot of experience. However, they're giving their power of their children and their property and the decisions about their kids and their property to this random stranger in the form of a judge. And so people are leaving that experience very disempowered, very stressed, very angry, and carrying all of these really heavy emotions that are a very low energy state, such as hate, disappointment, fear, overwhelm, stress, all of those feelings. Those are low energy feelings, and they are blocking those people from truly moving forward in their life experience. And so one of the biggest reasons for this video is to let you know that it does not need to be that way. Divorce does not need to be a destructive experience. Divorce can be one of the most extraordinary opportunities for growth that we are gifted in our lifetimes. And the reason for this is because all difficult times in our life happen exactly when they should, as they should. And they are all there for a specific reason, divorce included. We are meant to learn from them. We are meant to take really good care of ourselves and center ourselves and connect to ourselves so we can learn as much as we can about ourselves, and we can help heal ourselves from any past experience or trauma, either from the relationship or elsewhere, that is blocking us in our life, and use those learnings and that healing to grow into the people that we are meant to be. And also being mindful and just really truly embracing that every single person comes into our life for a reason. We are meant to learn and grow from every person who comes into our life. And when you enter into a marriage with another person, the two of you have learned so much about yourselves throughout the course of your relationship. Look at the person you are today. You're so much different than you were a day before you met your spouse. And that's because you've changed. You've learned more about yourself. You've grown. If you've had children together, that is one of the most extraordinary gifts you can be given in your lifetime as well, right? And you could have had kids with anyone else in the whole world. However, the kids that you have right now would not be those exact children had it not been for you and your spouse getting together at that exact millisecond in time. So, gratitude, if we can shift the way we're looking at divorce from one of destruction to one of empowerment and growth, and really utilize gratitude to help us get there, being grateful for the lessons that we learned, being grateful for the growth that we experienced, because we are madly in love with ourselves right now. And we know we wouldn't be the person that we are right now without being in a relationship with our spouse. Divorce does not have to be destructive. It can be this empowering exercise where you can learn all of the relevant provisions of the governing law in the state of Illinois. And this is one of the biggest takeaways of this video, I hope, for you, is that there is a governing law in the state of Illinois. It is called the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act. That law contains a bunch of provisions, and those provisions apply to every single issue that you may have in your case. So hopefully that gives you some peace of mind, some solace to know that there is a law, there is a guide, and that's what we use in mediation. The law is our guide, it is the foundation. You are also fully capable and able to restructure from your broken marriage relationship over to a successful co-parenting relationship with a very strong foundation of communication, trust, and respect. Or if you don't have children, restructuring from a broken marriage relationship that is not serving you anymore, and just restructuring over to friends, being kind to one another, being grateful for one another. You can absolutely do this. You also can be in control of your divorce journey. You do not need to relinquish your voice and your control to your attorneys, or relinquish your decision making as the best authorities for your children's best interest and the best authorities to determine what is a fair and equitable way to divide your marital property. You do not need to relinquish those powers to a judge. You can hold on to those powers. You can work together to create the agreements that are in the best interest of your children and your co-parenting family moving forward. And as I just shared, you have a guide. You have the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act that is serving as your guide, as your foundation. Now, I have helped hundreds of couples go through this divorce journey, and I myself have been through my own divorce. And so I know how difficult it is right now. I know how scary this can be and how overwhelming this can be. And if kids are involved, I know that you're probably totally freaked out that they're going to be negatively impacted by this. But it doesn't need to be that way. The proprietary system that we have in place at Solace is shifting the way that people are viewing and experiencing divorce, going from one of destruction to one of empowerment and growth. It is the new way to get a divorce, especially post-COVID. We've all been living through this global pandemic, and it is very difficult to live through the global pandemic. I am hopeful that you are exercising the art of extreme self-care and self-love during this time, and also during your divorce, because that is going to set you up for success. That is where you are going to get the most growth, is if you take care of your beautiful self while you're going through it. So we've all been going through COVID. We don't need any additional stress, and you don't need to add that stress unless you want to. Divorce is a series of choices from start to finish. The first choice being, are we going to get a divorce? If yes, second choice, how are we going to do this? Your two main options, are we going to utilize litigation, which is where we're each going to hire an attorney, and the attorneys are going to do the talking for us and serve as our zealous advocate, representing the best interest of only one person in the marriage, potentially family, looking out for that one person's best interest. And that person's best interest in the litigation system does not include the health and well-being of their children, nor does it include the health and well-being of their co-parenting relationship, which I personally believe to be very important and absolutely in your best interest. You want your kids to be happy, healthy, well-adjusted, thriving people, and you want to have a really powerful, solid relationship with your co-parent for the benefit of both of you, because you're in a co-parenting relationship for the rest of your life until one of you dies. You're in this co-parenting relationship. So why not make it be a positive experience for both of you, and absolutely for your children? It is good for your children to see both of their parents being nice to each other, being respectful to one another, talking to one another, having family time together. All of these things you can absolutely do. This is all within your control. Your choice is either litigation or mediation. Okay, litigation, as I shared, you each get attorneys, they're going to battle for you, and a judge is going to be the final decision maker for you, making all of the decisions for you. Typically, this takes a long time and it can cost a lot of money. Or you can choose to mediate. Mediate is when you stay out of court. The two of you two beautiful souls, work together to create the agreements that you need to create to move forward and go to that one and only court appearance that we have to go to. And I will get to that in a moment. So that is your second choice. First choice, are we going to get a divorce? Second choice, how are we going to do it? Are we going to litigate or are we going to mediate? Third choice, how am I individually going to view and experience my divorce journey? Am I going to choose to sit in these feelings of anger and disappointment and resentment and fear and overwhelm and all of these icky, low-level energy feelings that are truly blocking me from enjoying my present moment and are absolutely impacting my future life, because I'm not spending any time thinking about it or preparing for it or doing the things that I need to do to set myself up for success. Instead, I'm choosing to focus on all things that have happened in the past. That's a choice. Or if it's happening anyway, you can choose to look at this experience, your divorce, as being present in your life exactly when it should be here for a reason. There is a lesson you're supposed to learn, or multiple lessons that you're supposed to learn. And in order to do that, you need to take really good care of yourself. And you are going to choose to go through your divorce experience in a powerful manner, where you are going to learn as much as you can about yourself. You are going to heal from all past traumas and experiences that are blocking you. And you are going to grow into the person that you have always known yourself to be, this extraordinary beacon of love and light. And you're going to change the world with your absolute greatness and your power and your beauty. That is the choice that you have, the third choice. So if choice 2 and choice 3 are you want to mediate and you want to use this as a growth exercise as opposed to an exercise to destroy yourself and your co-parent and your children and your family, then I want to share with you how we operate here at Solace, because again, managed expectations. So the reason that I'm doing this video in this environment is because this is the Solace Zoom room. So Solace is 100% virtual. And the way that we operate is that the couple will choose a day of the week and a 2-hour time frame that works best for them in their life to meet. And we're going to meet, and then we're going to meet every 3 weeks after that. And we're going to meet for 2 hours at a time and have all of the conversations that we need to have in order to get you to that one and only court date, which I'm going to explain to you. At Solace, we have preparation documents that help you to prepare for your mediation sessions. In those documents, it will share with you everything that we are going to be talking about in our meetings. You also are provided with a client handbook that has 14 different documents, and it provides an overall managed expectations from start to the very start of your journey with Solace, all the way through to that one and only court appearance and then beyond. And we help give you some resources that you can use to help you get through this time in a very powerful fashion. So you are provided with the Solace toolbox that is mailed to you, and it has a bunch of goodies in there that are going to help you balance your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual selves, because all 4 bodily selves are always working together at all points in our life. And so we need to make sure that you are feeling good and balanced in all of these areas. And when I say feeling good, the goal is to try to feel good in a high energy state during a very difficult time. And so Solace mediators are not only certified mediators, they're also certified life coaches. And they're going to help you with this constant focus on shifting into this high energy state so you can feel good, so you can make the agreements that are going to benefit you and your family unit moving forward. After every session that you meet with a mediator at Solace, you will be receiving a memorandum of understanding. It's a normal language document that's just going to capture all of the conversations and agreements that we made together in the mediation Zoom room. And it's also going to list all of the additional topics that we need to cover. And again, this is just managed expectations. So you know where you are at in your journey. You know what you've talked about. You know what you need to still talk about. And so you have all of the variables under control. Solace is eliminating the fear and the variables that are associated with divorce. We are putting all of the power in both of your beautiful hands, because both of you have all of the keys within yourselves to come up with all of the agreements that you need to come up with to get to that one and only court date. Now, when I keep saying the one and only court date, what that is called is a prove up hearing. And the reason it's called a prove up hearing is because the judge is going to be proving up all of these requirements that are found in that governing law that I referenced, the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act. So 2 big takeaways for you that I hope you get from this video. If you're thinking about divorce and you do have some overwhelm and you're wondering, can we mediate? Can we not? Yes, you can mediate, unless there is, in cases of abuse, those cases need to be in the courtroom setting, most likely, because they need a guidance of a judge that's going to help them set some parameters in place. But for the vast majority of cases, mediation can absolutely work. And there are 2 big takeaways that I want you to have from this video. The first is what I've already said numerous times. There is a governing law. So mediation is not this free-for-all. It's not this haphazard approach to family law. There is this governing law, the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act. And in that law, as I've shared, all of those provisions in that law, any issue that you may have in your divorce case, they're all going to be addressed in that statute, in that governing law. So that's one of the biggest takeaways from this video that I hope you leave with, is that there is this governing law. So we do have a guide. We have guidance. It directs us in every single area and conversation of the mediation process. The second big takeaway that I want you to have from this if you're thinking about going through a divorce, is that we do have to go to court one time. And I've made reference to that a number of times in this video so far. So even if you stay out of the courtroom setting and you choose in that second choice, you're going to choose to mediate instead of litigate, you still have to go to court one time. And the reason we're going to court one time is so the judge at this prove up hearing can go through all of the essential elements that are part of the law. One of these, for example, just so you're not feeling overwhelmed when I say that, is that one of you has been a resident of the state of Illinois for the past 90 days. That's one element, okay? What the judge is also doing at that prove up hearing, the judge is reviewing your legal documents. There are three. If you have children, there are three documents you need to create in order to get a divorce in the state of Illinois. If you do not have children, there are two. Now, there are a bunch of other documents that need to be created and generated too, but the only two or three, depending upon if you have children or not, that you have to worry about, I will get to in a moment. But what the judge is doing at that prove up hearing is looking over your legal documents to make sure that they are in accordance with that governing law. And if they're not, then the judge is going to ask questions to make sure that both of you understand what that law said and that both of you are agreeing to do something different for the health and well-being of your co-parenting family moving forward, and each of you moving forward, or if you don't have kids, just for the health and well-being of each of you, because the two of you have lived in your marriage since day one. So the two of you know what is the best way to resolve all of these issues. As I've shared, you have all the keys inside of you. You don't need to relinquish your power. You can hold on to that power and create the agreements that are going to best serve your life experience and that best serve the life experience of everyone who is in your life. So that second takeaway of that prove up hearing, the one time you have to go to court, and now with COVID, as of right now when I'm filming this, everything is virtual. I am hoping that it stays that way, but if not, then you have to go to court one time physically and do this prove up hearing. Now, the reason that is a nice second takeaway is because it is a checks and balance system. So you have a governing law, which we have to talk about in the mediation setting, and the two of you reach agreements. Then at the end of everything, we go to court one time, and the judge is going to make sure that those agreements are in accordance to this law. And if not, then as I shared, it's going to ask you questions. So that's something that I hope gives you some peace of mind, right? Calms you a little bit in knowing and understanding you don't have to choose to litigate. You can, you absolutely can. It's your choice how you want to go through your divorce, but it is not 100% absolutely necessary for you to choose to litigate. That is a choice that is made individually by both parties. Mediation is a choice that is made individually, but also together by both parties. Both parties have to agree to move forward to mediate in order to mediate your divorce. Now, let's get to the 3 documents if you have kids, the 2 documents if you don't have kids. Just again, managing expectations, helping provide you with information so you don't feel so overwhelmed, and eliminating some of this fear and overwhelm that is oftentimes associated with divorce. So if you do not have children in the state of Illinois, what you have to generate, the 2 main documents you have to generate are going to be called the Judgment for Dissolution of Marriage and the Marital Settlement Agreement. If you do have children, you're going to have an additional document. You're going to have the Judgment for Dissolution of Marriage, the Parenting Agreement, which I will get to in a moment, and same as if you don't have kids, the Marital Settlement Agreement. Okay, so I'm going to go through these documents, just again, managing expectations so you don't feel overwhelmed, because they're not super scary. And as I keep sharing with you, you have all of the keys inside of you. You have all of the information that is necessary to create these 3 documents if you have kids, 2 documents if you don't have kids, because you have lived every single day in your marriage. You have been there, you have worked your butts off to accumulate whatever marital property you currently have. And you also know your children better than anyone else since the two of you have known them since you found out you were pregnant with them and they were the size of a pencil tip. You know your kids better than anyone else. The two of you are the absolute best authorities to create these agreements, significantly better than an attorney that you hire or a judge who will never have the opportunity to meet your children, has never lived one day in your marriage. You are absolutely better authorities to make these agreements than someone who is a complete stranger to you, your children, and your family and your marriage. So let's go through these three documents real quick. The first one, judgment for dissolution of marriage. I like to call this document the mother document. And the reason I call it the mother document is because when we go to court that one and only time, the judge is going to sign off on this document, the judgment for dissolution of marriage. This is the doc that the judge is signing off on. When the judge signs this document, this mother document, judgment for dissolution of marriage, it does two things. The first thing it does is it's going to legally dissolve the bonds of matrimony. The second thing that it's going to do is it's going to incorporate the terms of the parenting agreement and the marital settlement agreement into your judgment, and it's going to make them court orders that you have to follow. So the good news about the judgment for dissolution of marriage is it's pretty much the same in every case structure-wise. It will just have your individual information, like your name, date of birth, your kids' names, where you work. That's the only thing that changes. But the only reason I'm sharing with you that it's the same pretty much in every case is to remove, again, manage expectations, remove some of this fear. You can do this. This is not so scary. Divorce is just as much an emotional process as it is a legal process. And the legal process isn't that difficult because, as I've shared numerous times, we have a law, we have the governing statute, the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act. This is our guide. This helps tell us what we need to talk about for the legal process. So that's okay. The emotional process, that's the harder process. And that's where the mediators at Solace, as life coaches, we can provide you with tips and skills and resources that will help you stay in this high energy state and help you to feel good during a very difficult time. Document number 2 is that parenting agreement. Now, for all you that don't have kids, take a little break for a moment. This will not take long, right? The parenting agreement. Good news for all parents out there everywhere going through a divorce or thinking about it. The word custody is no longer used in the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act. Yay! Why is that good? Because that word became very ugly. People were using that word inappropriately. They were saying, I'm going to get sole custody of our kids. And then the other person is freaking out. Well, I'm going to get sole custody. All that meant before it changed was decision making. That's all it meant, because just so all of you know, all parents everywhere, there's no such thing as mother's rights or father's rights. There is such thing as parental rights. Okay, so parents everywhere, guess what? You all have parental rights. Unless you sign them away, you have parental rights, and you have the same parental rights to your children as your co-parent or as your spouse currently. You have the same amount of rights to your kids, which is a beautiful, wonderful thing, because our kids choose us to be their parents. We are meant to teach them different things. We're meant to give them different love. They're meant to learn and grow from us being their parents, and we're helping them reach their full expression of self, which is so exciting and so amazing. So, little tangent about parental rights, but parental rights, that's it. No father's rights, mother's rights. It is just parental rights. Now, the word custody is no longer used. What did they change it with? I'll tell you. It's now called an allocation of parental responsibilities and parenting plan. That whole long thing has taken over the word custody, which when I say that thing, it may seem overwhelming. So let's break it down. Okay. It's not that overwhelming. The first part, allocation of parental responsibilities. This is asking in 4 areas, how are you making decisions for your children? And what are those areas? We're going to discuss education issues. Anytime a major education issue happens, How are you going to resolve those? How are you going to make those decisions? Your choice is going to be either you're going to reach an agreement and move forward, which is shared, or one of you is going to be the final decision maker. The second area, medical issues. How are you going to resolve these issues? The third area, religious issues. How are you going to resolve these? And the fourth area, extracurricular issues. How are you going to resolve those? Now, again, the statute is our guide. The statute tells us that for this allocation of parental responsibilities and parenting plan document, it needs to be focused on the best interest of your children. What better two people to determine what is in the best interest of your children other than the two of you? No one. You are the absolute best authorities to do these exercises. So that's the first part. Now, and parenting plan. What do we have to do here? Well, there's 3 levels of parenting plan that we have to figure out. The first level, week to week. How are we doing the parenting plan week to week? Just a normal foundational parenting plan. Second level, school breaks and vacations. How are we handling those? And the third level, holidays. How are we going to exercise parenting time during these holidays? Now, at Solace, just to manage your beautiful expectations, I do like to open the door to have conversations when we're talking about these big holidays that are celebrated with your family, of trying to figure out if there's ways that we can come together as a family during those big holidays. Because one of the biggest notions of Solace is, if you have children, is that you are always a family. Just because you get a divorce doesn't mean that you're not a family anymore. It means you're still a family. You're just a different family than you were before, because we restructured from a marriage relationship that wasn't serving anyone to a co-parenting relationship with a strong foundation of communication, trust, and respect. And I see these two relationships, whether married or co-parent, they're the same importance-wise. They're equally as important. You're always a family, just a different family than you were before. So that's the parenting time plan. Again, not very difficult, because the statute, the beautiful Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act, is our guide. It tells us everything we need to talk about, and it gives us direction. So that's the parenting agreement. And at Solace, we add some other conversations in there that I found over 14 years of doing this that are helpful. Because at the end of the day, when your legal documents are done, this parenting agreement is a living, breathing document. It is going to change potentially. And the reason it's going to change, because we have no idea what's in our futures. We want to live absolute, beautiful, wonderful, amazing lives. We want our kids to do the same. And there is no way for us to know right now what is going to happen to us in our future. So this document, this parenting agreement, it has to be living and breathing. It has to be subject to change. We need to be able to work together moving forward and reach agreements if we need to, if something has changed with regards to our children. So this is something that's going to change. And if you use mediation, a beautiful part of that is that you learn that you are the absolute best authorities to do this work. The two of you can absolutely come together and reach agreements that are in your best interest of your children. You do not need to go to court and have a judge tell you what you should do. You can, it's a choice, but you don't need to. Okay, back to those people without children and people with children. The third document, your marital settlement agreement. Okay, this marital settlement agreement is going to have all of your marital property division agreements and have 2 different formulas in there potentially. So the statute, again, is our guide. And what does the statute say about the marital settlement agreement? The statute says that Illinois is an equitable division state. And what does that mean? That means that it is not a 50-50 state. It is an equitable division state, which means that the terms and agreements contained in this marital settlement agreement need to be fair and equitable to your unique marriage and family. That's all that means. And again, I believe the two of you who have lived every single day in your marriage and have worked your butts off to accumulate all of the marital property that you still have are the absolute best authorities to determine what is a fair and equitable way to divide your marital property. So that's the heart of the marital property, the marital settlement agreement. And here at Solace, we like to take a step back, kind of big picture view, and look at all of the different pieces of marital property and figure out a way that we can put them back together in a manner that will make you both feel good that you work together to create these agreements and set you up for success moving forward for your new life experience. We don't want anyone to feel taken advantage of or to feel stressed about, being able to maintain life financially. We want both of you to feel good. We want both of you to be set up for success. Now, within that document, I mentioned two different formulas, and I just briefly want to explain these formulas because I know that they can cause a lot of stress to people. And so the first formula that I want to talk about is maintenance, or it used to be called spousal support or alimony. Now, again, the statute is our guide. I'm so grateful for the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act because, again, it gives us direction on everything. And with maintenance is a two-part test, right? The first part, or two-part process. The first part is in that statute, we're going to be given 14 different elements or topics that we can discuss to determine whether your case is a maintenance case or is not a maintenance case. And we work together to figure that out. Once we figure that out and we say, yes, it is maintenance for purposes of the rest of this conversation, then the beauty is the statute has formulas for us. Two different formulas in that second step of that process. So the first step is it maintenance? Second step is, if yes, let's run the formulas. And it's just a mathematical equation, okay? And it's going to be a mathematical equation here at Solace. We use family law software, makes it real easy to generate these reports and share them with you so you can review them and really absorb them and understand them. So the first part of the formula is going to tell you how much maintenance is going to be given or received every month. The second part of the formula is going to share with you how long, and it's going to be based on how long you've been married. There's a multiplier. So removing the fear and uncertainty from maintenance. It's a two-part process, and there is a formula contained in the statute that helps guide us. Wonderful. Now, if you have children and you do have maintenance is calculated first, and then we run the child support calculation. Great news with that. There's also a formula in the statute for child support, which is amazing. It's not, again, this haphazard free-for-all. The statute is our guide throughout the entire journey. So what does the statute say with regards to child support? Child support has three different factors present. The first factor is going to be the income of both parties, each party individually. How much income are you earning? The second factor is going to be for whatever parent is providing health insurance for the children, how much are you paying for health insurance per month just for the kids? And then the third factor is going to be the number of overnights in a calendar year. It's not the amount of time in a day, it's the number of overnights. Now, family law software, which is again what we utilize here at Solace, we put in all your information, run the calculation, and we provide you with what the calculation says. Now, what is child support? Again, this video, managing expectations. Child support is help towards paying rent or mortgage because that's where your children are living part of the time or most of the time, depending upon your parenting plan. It's also going to go towards helping pay for utilities, helping pay for groceries, helping pay for normal wear and tear clothing. Those are all going to be things that child support is going to pay for. What is child support not going to pay for? Now, these are the things that are going to be separate expenses that the two of you beautiful parenting souls are going to have to figure out a percentage. What percentage are you each going to be responsible for? And now remember back when we talked about the decision making for education. How are we going to pay for that? For above and beyond health insurance, medical expenses, for any religious activity expenses that we have, and any expenses for extracurricular activities. Now, see, everything all works together. It flows, it makes sense because, again, the statute is our guide. So I hope that you feel better after watching this video, that you don't feel so overwhelmed and so scared about divorce and thinking about divorce, because it doesn't have to be this destructive experience. It really can be a very empowering experience of growth that you can have in your life. And you can use your divorce as a catalyst to change every single thing in your life that is not serving you anymore. Use it as a catalyst for change and of growth. So since you gave us your email address to watch this video, we're going to email you some powerful documents that are going to help you in your journey of empowerment. Two of these documents are going to be the Solace Agreement to Mediate, which is going to provide you with a range of fees, just a range of what a typical, case would be with divorce with kids, divorce without kids, parentage, whatever your case may be. You're going to be sent a typical case like this. This is the range. In addition to that, you're going to be sent a menu for services. And this menu for services is going to break down all of the costs that are associated with the Solace journey. Now, the powerful part of both of these documents together, this combo platter, is to let you know that you are in control, not only of your divorce journey, but also the cost of it and how long it takes. It's up to the two of you how much your divorce is going to cost. And you will understand that better when you read over the menu for services. So if you would like to move forward with Solace and take the Solace journey for your divorce of empowerment and growth and really setting you up for success in your new life experience, you can go ahead and sign that agreement and email it back to the admin email that is in our Contact Us on this website. If you would like to schedule a 30-minute Zoom call to talk about the details specific to your case, you can also do that. So just use the scheduling link to do that. I hope to connect with you soon. I hope that your expectations are better managed, that you are leaving this video with a true, solid understanding that there is one governing law in the state of Illinois, the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act, and it is our guide for every conversation that we have to talk about. We go to court one time at the end of our journey for the prove-up hearing, and that's our checks and balances system, where a judge is going to review the agreements that you made in the mediation room. It's going to sign off on your judgment if everything is good, which is part of the due diligence of the Solace mediator. Sign off on your judgment, which is going to legally dissolve your bonds of matrimony and incorporate your two other agreements, your parenting agreement and your marital settlement agreement, into your judgment. I hope another takeaway you have from this video is recognizing that you are absolutely the best authorities to determine what is in the best interest of your children. Since you've known them since you were pregnant, you've known them their whole life, you know everything about them, you know their personalities, you know what is in their best interest. The two of you have also lived in your marriage every single day throughout the entire time. The two of you have worked so hard to accumulate all of the marital property that you still have right now. So the two of you are absolutely the best authorities to determine what is a fair and equitable way to divide your marital property. I hope that we get to work with you and that you get to take the Solace journey with us of love and of light and of empowerment, and that we can help set you up for success and get you really clear on what you want the rest of your days to look like and what type of goals you want to achieve in your lifetime. Together, we can be working together to create this army of people that have made that choice to use their divorce as an opportunity to learn, heal, and grow, as opposed to an opportunity to destroy one another. And the more people we have as part of this army, together, we will all eliminate that ridiculous negative social stigma that's associated with divorce. I hope you have a wonderful and empowering day, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.